Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to Business Innovators Radio with me, Luana Ribeira. With me today, I have fertility expert Juliet Owen-Nuttall, who works with ambitious women to help them get pregnant over 40 years old. Hi, Juliet.
Hello, nice to be with you, Luana.
So what I'd love to know from you, how did all of this begin? Because it's very specific what you do. You help women over 40s to be able to get pregnant, but specifically women who are ambitious. So what was your journey into all of that?
So it was my personal journey that brought me into this. So I put off motherhood to pursue my career. I was a female firefighter, and the effects of the nature of the job and the amount of stress that I put my body under affected my fertility and affected my female reproductive system, to the point where the doctors told me at 41 I would never get pregnant, actually, and they said I would need surgery and probably a hysterectomy, and I had cysts, fibroids, blocked tubes, and I'd had a massive infection in my fallopian tubes. So my journey on unraveling what had happened and then creating, and I'm trained in Chinese medicine, so I created a plan to increase my fertility and maximize my chances of a successful pregnancy. And I became pregnant naturally at 44. And I realized, thank you, and gave birth to my beautiful, healthy daughter at 45. And I realized that I wasn't alone. And I realized that ambitious women have a tendency to put childhood off, put parenthood off. But some of it is around fears of motherhood, of like, what's going to happen to my career if I have children? What do I have to do I have to change my life dramatically when I become a parent? You know, and the way in which we've been brought up and conditioned, we're conditioned that women are often left behind. Like once they have children, you know, I grew up with people around me that their whole life almost just came to a standstill through motherhood. And that put me off wanting children because I wasn't prepared to do that. Career to me was really important. But the actual side effect of being, say, more in my masculine energy, which means I'm, you know, putting my body under quite a lot of pressure, you know, the work that I was doing affected my female reproductive system. But I see that it's reversible. It can change. And we're told that once you get to a certain age, that's it, you know, your fertility falls off a cliff and maybe you'll get pregnant with IVF. And I'm here to prove that, you know, that's not true, but we do need to take care of our female reproductive system if we want to get pregnant naturally. And it's very important that we're aware that our behaviors, our lifestyle and our diet contributes to that.
So why do you think you were told that you wouldn't be able to get pregnant? I mean, is this something that women are regularly told but it's not true? Like, why would they be told that?
So the medical profession, you know, and I'm not against them because they saved my life when I was seriously ill, but they take a snapshot of your body and your health at that point. And the way in which they treat you is they treat the end result, so the problem. So I was in a lot of pain. I was ending up in A&E every month with burst cysts. And so their approach was, well, if this is painful and you're struggling, let's get rid of it. Rather than, well, looking at why is this happening? And when they looked at my age, they just went, well, you're not going to get pregnant because of one, your age, and two, you're having all these difficulties. And those difficulties that I was having was actually due to hormonal imbalance. But they don't address that. The way in which doctors address it is through just giving people the pill. So a lot of women come to me and they say, well, I've been on the pill for X amount of years. And I say to them, okay, well, what was your menstrual cycle before I went on the pill? Oh, gosh, terrible. Loads of pain, problems, erratic. And I'm like, yeah, so we need to address that problem even before you went on the pill. And the pill is handed out for women to deal with those issues. But those issues don't ever go away. They need to be addressed.
Saying that, what the doctors are prescribing, like the pill, that's only like a temporary cover-up, that it's not really dealing with what the actual issue is.
Yeah, it is a temporary cover-up. Of course, it masks the symptoms. It can sometimes take the symptoms away, but the nature of the woman's body, and then with having the synthetic hormones, in her body, is going to result in further complications with her hormones, and they need balancing, and they can be balanced naturally.
You work to undo all of that and figure out, what's really going on underneath all of those layers.
Yes. Yeah.
So why do people get IVF then? Like, obviously they get IVF because they want to get pregnant, but why do you think so many people get IVF rather than really work on what's going on in their bodies?
Well, I think a lot of it's to do with they feel at times running out, so they want a quick fix. And we're told in, modern society that, to get things done, it's a quick fix. So one is a quick fix. However, the stories that I hear, can be a really, really difficult journey. It's often outside of them. So a lot of women that are coming to me, they've lost that kind of connection to themselves, because a lot of what they do is they're fabulous at what they do. They're brilliant at their jobs, they're brilliant at their career, because they approach it in a certain way, but they're disconnected from their femininity. And therefore, they're not trusting their intuition and trusting that they can do it. So they think, automatically I need to go for something outside of me because surely that's the quick fix.
Yes. And then the IVF process as a whole, from what I hear, is just very, very, clinical and sterile. And, it's very much like a scientific process, isn't it? Rather than somebody getting to know their own body and... Yeah. So what are the benefits then of working with you as opposed to getting IVF?
There are huge benefits because one, I say to women, no female should have any symptoms in their menstrual cycle. So one, we will address that. You should, it's not normal to have those symptoms. They're a symptom of something's out of balance. So first of all, it's addressing her hormone balance and getting that, because that can affect women in many ways, in how they turn up in their jobs, how they turn up in their career, how they turn up in life. It can be very debilitating. And it's about creating a better relationship with food and nutrition and, nourishing herself, because often busy women... we tend to let that go a little bit. We tend not to focus on that, but that's a contributing factor to the menstrual cycle being out of whack.
Right.
And then the great thing is a lot of times women that come to me, their relationship is out of whack too. So because they don't quite know how the conception process actually happens in between a man and a woman, there's conflict in the relationship. They're kind of turning up in the relationship and feeling like they're, there's this distance and they're wondering why it's not happening. And it's about creating this depth of connection between the two of them so that they can co-create together. Because the women that I work with...
From?
Sorry?
Where does that distance come from?
it comes from women who are dominant and very, very ambitious. And what tends to happen is when you turn up in a relationship like that, and I'm not saying it can work, but you often get a man who will then go more into his feminine and not be as forthcoming.
And that affects the fertility.
Yes, because often energetically, the sperm are not as strong because he's more in his femininity. He's in a softer way. He's not in a masculine way, and his approach, often I say that, why women are actually saying no to the sperm, because she's being more dominant in her masculine and turning up in the relationship, and then sort of saying, well, why is it not happening? And of course, he's not being allowed to get into his masculine to create. So it's about making that change. But that change doesn't mean that your life has to change. It just means how to make the transition outside of the work environment to be in the relationship where you are able to create the polarity and the attraction where, this beautiful thing happens where life's created.
So is it possible for an ambitious woman to, be able to go off and get pregnant and still be able to maintain her career as well as, become a mother?
Totally. I believe absolutely. And if my journey has got anything to do with it, then, my career has exploded since having a child. It's very different. I'm not a firefighter anymore. I'm a fertility expert, but I'm much more me. I'm much more connected with who I really am at the core, rather than doing a job that I was doing to actually get some kind of recognition in the world. And now my job is very much aligned with who I truly am at the core. So I definitely say that motherhood does not affect your career. In fact, if you want my example, it enhances your career.
Oh, amazing. This is all such interesting stuff. Where can people find you, Juliet?
So I'm Juliet Owen-Nuttall. My business is called the Non-Invasive Method. Your best place to find me is Facebook or as Juliet Owen-Nuttall, or on Instagram at the Non-Invasive Method.
We'll include these links below. Go and check them out. Juliet, just before we finish up, one tip for a 40-something-year-old woman out there who's highly ambitious and wants to get pregnant.
You have more control over your fertility than you realize. And you just need to be open to making some changes that are going to enhance your life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Juliet. You've been amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.